Uh-oh.
Yes, boy!
French toast is the exchange student that you have like a 3-week affair with.
Fake. We can see that you don't have pants on.
Somebody hit somebody with a pie. Do something.
Giovanni yelling we're out of time as we go off the air.
Giovanni yelling a lot of things tonight.
And welcome to the Mark It Down podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Mark It Down podcast. My name is Nick Cummings, joined this week by James Asante, back after a week off last week, but we are ramping up right into Forbidden Door. So maybe we'll cover some of the stuff that we missed last week, but we're mostly going to stick to the stuff tonight, although we'll probably have some things on last week as they come up. But we are going to start in a weird spot in the show, but it all makes sense, as after an interview, we briefly went backstage to see an enraged Mark Briscoe, who was there yelling that he had enough and flew all the way across the ocean to find and kill MJF. We then came back from commercial where we had what seemed like it was going to be a backstage promo from Ricochet and GOA, but after Ricochet called his group the hottest group in professional wrestling right now, he was quickly interrupted by MJF. Max states first and foremost that he knows that they both don't like each other, especially since bald people freak him out. But right now they have a common enemy who's searching for him. So MJF proposes that they team up and find that common enemy first. Ricochet echoes the fact that he indeed does hate MJF, but Mark Briscoe irks him even more, so he agrees to help find Briscoe.
Can you remind me real quick? Did MJF have any interaction with babyface Ricochet? I don't remember.
Not off the top of the head that I can remember, but it seems like they've interacted in some way, shape, or form. I think they had a brief alliance when Ricochet might have been heel, if I remember correctly, and then one of them bailed on the other. So I think that might have happened.
Maria's saying no.
Okay,
so there was no real interaction, at least from babyface time. What up, Maria?
Hello, Maria. Welcome back. So yeah, maybe I'm thinking of somebody else, but I thought they had a brief interaction. Anyway, this then leads to later in the show, we had an in-ring promo from one Hangman, Adam Page. So the champ comes down and immediately calls MJF out for attacking him in the parking lot. I believe it was the end of the show last week on Dynamite, saying it's the same way Max does everything, in an underhanded fashion and behind people's backs, taking shortcuts wherever and whenever he can because he is a gutless coward. Page says that he would call MJF out to the ring, but he knows Max is too much of a coward to come out and get the ass-kicking he deserves right now, so he'll just have to wait for Forbidden Door to shove his size 12 ostrich leathers up MJF's ass. Max's music then hits, but he doesn't come out, and once it finishes, one Tony Schiavone stands up and announces that very politely to Hangman, because he knows it's going to piss him off, announces to Hangman that MJF has one of their cameras backstage and has a message for Page. But if Hangman leaves the ring early, and these are MJF's words, not Tony's, something bad will happen. MJF then appears on the screen saying he knows that Hangman is always at his most vulnerable when he's angry, so here is his anger, and reveals a tied-up, unconscious, and gagged Mark Briscoe, flanked by Ricochet and GOA. MJF tells Hangman that he has 3 things he wants from him, and then he'll let Briscoe go. But if Page doesn't agree to them, then he'll turn Briscoe into Kentucky Fried, and as he says this, he pours a whole gallon of gasoline all over Briscoe, as Hangman's in the ring flipping out and calling him a bastard. Max's stipulations are this. 1, the title can change hands via disqualification on Sunday. 2, the title can change hands via countout on Sunday. And 3, he does not have to use his contract to have the title match at Forbidden Door.
Boo! Boo! Boo!
If Hangman doesn't agree to all of these stipulations by the count of 5, everyone will get to see if they like it when he sets something on fire as much as they do when their hero Hangman does it. MJF is then given a lighter, sparks it up, and begins the count, reaching 4 before Hangman finally gives in and agrees to MJF's demands. Max puts the lighter out, thanks Paige, and then the Tron shuts off, and that allows Hangman to leave the ring, grab a chair, and make a beeline to the back. We then head into commercial break, and when we come back, Hangman is storming through the tunnels underneath the arena, where he finds Ricochet with his back to him. So Paige hits him with the chair before picking him up and slamming into the wall, demanding to know where MJF is. Security is quickly all over this, and they pull Hangman off of Ricochet and try to calm him down, but one unlucky security guard has the unfortunate task of telling Paige that MJF has already left the building, and that earns him a right hand to the jaw, which puts him right on the ass.
And you know what? Good for Hangman. Good for Hangman. They were there so quickly to make sure that Hangman didn't touch Ricochet, but while a man might have been lit on fire, where were they?
You got a decent point. Anyway, after laying that dude out, Hangman leaves seemingly through the back doors as GOA show up and find a down Ricochet, and they're all pissed off that they didn't help their boss. So, James, obviously, there's a lot here. One, there's this actual segment to talk about, and then two, the stipulation. So I say let's start with the segment first. I guess combined, but I like this small through thread at the beginning that led to what ended up happening, but I kind of liked what MJF did here. Obviously, it was terrible what he did, but I liked the idea of him using fire against Hangman, which was cool. And also the notion that he thinks that Hangman is at his most vulnerable when he's emotional and angry, versus what Bryan Danielson, who was on commentary tonight, said, where he thinks Hangman is also at his most dangerous, and this might be a bad play for MJF.
All right, so to go through all of that, one, I agree with you. I like the fire aspect. I love the line because it goes back to so much of what MJF's problem with Hangman is, which is that he feels that the fans will love Hangman no matter what. And he said this for months and months and months, that you could do anything. You can't do anything wrong. Meanwhile, everything I do, they pick apart. So Hangman used fire against Swerve, that he lit the house on fire, which is, I guess, not as bad as lighting a person on fire. I don't even know why I said I guess. It's absolutely not as bad.
One is arson and property damage, and the other is probably murder, at least not attempted murder.
Probably. But so I like that keeps being brought into play. MJF consistently comparing himself to Hangman, and whether or not he can accept how the fans react to Hangman versus himself. And he just doesn't understand the differences between he and Hangman. The stipulation aspect, I really don't like this. I loved, and MJF acknowledged it, I love that Hangman outsmarted MJF last week. I loved that we saw this confident, smart babyface get one over on the heel in terms of using the contract, in terms of doing things on his terms. And again, I don't mind that the heel needs to sort of either even the odds or get a little bit of an advantage, especially because more than likely he's not winning.
Yeah.
But why did we go through all of that last week? It just doesn't feel like it was worth it. And truthfully, I don't know what the fuck is keeping Hangman to keep his word here. He didn't sign anything. He just said, fine, yeah, you get what you want. Hey, man, you're the champion. Don't defend that title if you don't want to against that guy. But I know that's not going to be the case. I know we're going to see Hangman do the honorable thing. He's going to adhere to the 3 stipulations. No count out, no DQ. Not no, but like he could lose the title with DQ or count out. And that MJF gets to keep the contract. But my God, win, lose, draw, no matter how you do it, please let MJF use the contract right after the match. Let MJF lose to Hanger and then immediately cash in the contract for like a second shot. And whether he wins that way, whether he loses that way, whether whatever, Hangman just runs away, no matter what, I want to see it be done. Just because I don't want to see this contract be a thing for another however many months. I have no desire.
So, first of all, I think the actual promo here, because the heel work I think is great.
Yes. Oh, no, it's absolutely fantastic. I'm not taking away anything from MJF's performance. I just don't like the direction of the story.
Okay, that's fair. Because, I think MJF did masterful hero work here, like I said. And I kind of liked it that, Paige did get one over on him, but MJF, the evil genius, is able to get the advantage right back. I am going to disagree with you on this. From the jump, I didn't want MJF facing Hangman at Forbidden Door because it's the same thing that's going on the women's side of things. And I wanted these two contracts to, have them, the holders do different things. And I also wanted, kind of like Money in the Bank, I would have liked one of them to stick around for a while and just have that person carry it and be able to, lord it over the champ's head and whatever when it's necessary. Yes. So I was kind of hoping that MJF didn't interact with Hangman at all following All In.
I feel like that was unavoidable considering all of the interactions they had before Hangman won the title.
Fair. And maybe not that they have to go no contact there, but I don't need MJF getting the match here or cashing in his contract. But he announced he was going to cash in the contract last week, and I was not annoyed, but I was disappointed because I didn't want them doing the same thing that Athena and Toni are doing. This allows for MJF to lose and then still have the contract and be able to carry it for a while still getting this payoff match after we've had this build for a little while. So I disagree with you there. I disagree that I want to see him cash in right after losing just because I think he's going to immediately then lose again because I don't think you cut Hangman's, new title reign off immediately at the knees or not even at the knees, at the head because, making him lose the title. So, and then you cut, Hangman's, legs off because he looks like a moron after looking like a genius after looking like a moron. So I hope that doesn't happen. Despite the fact we did talk about the last time we were on, it would be cool to see it at some point. Somebody with a automatic cash in, lose a title match and then cash in. But I would rather see that for the win, just so you can get, a little bit more of a, you get that moment where the good guy, you think he prevails and then the bad guy wins and then heat, bro. But so, and now I don't think you'll get that because I think MJF more than likely loses and then maybe he attempts to cash in the contract and isn't able to, whatever it is. I just think that this is going to be a loss and he hangs on to the contract for a while, which is okay with me, but it was a kind of weird way how we got here in the first place.
And I don't want to dwell on it too long because it was a good show. And like you said, like I said, I might not have liked the direction of the story, but I still appreciated the performances from everybody here. To your point of, I just wish they weren't, I didn't want them to be doing the same thing as Athena and Toni. They still are. The contract holder is still facing the champion. It's just now there's this caveat of, no, he still is going to have the contract afterwards. So we still got it, but without the contract actually in play. And does this mean then that MJF is going to be the next champion no matter what? That Hangman goes another couple months and then MJF strikes? Or does this mean whoever takes the title off Hangman, MJF takes off? I don't know. And granted, that's good to not know, but I don't know. I feel like we had a straightforward story here. And straightforward isn't bad. Sometimes straightforward is exactly right. You don't always need the M. Night Shyamalan twist.
Yeah.
But I again, I don't want to dwell. I don't want it to sound like I'm being overly negative. It felt like 50-50 storytelling. Like, we talk about 50-50 booking all the time, but like this felt like 50-50 storytelling. The good guy got it last week, but the bad guy won it this week. It's like, okay, sure. But yeah, this was very well done. Mark Briscoe, God, I was so excited for him for a while that it felt like, man, they're doing stuff with Mark. And now it just feels like he was always just a prop here.
They're still doing stuff with him. I mean, I think Tony Khan loves him too much I know he's he's a bit of a prop here, but they're not going to leave Mark out to dry at any point, I don't think.
Yeah,
you know?
I hope. Yeah.
Yeah, I think even though he did that string of losses, they were able to use that in his like little mini feud with MJF, and that allowed MJF to springboard into Hangman. Like, they're using him well. So
let's go to the comments real quick. We have a couple here. So we already said hi to Maria. Maria, always a pleasure to have you here. Judge, somebody I believe who's new to us.
He's been around recently, I think, but newer to the comment section. So welcome back, Judge.
Judge asking, what did we think of the show out of 10? It's a little early to talk about it, but I gave you my number in the comments. I gave it an 8 out of 10. I overall really liked the show, but there were some things that I didn't quite land for me. Maria with a great comment, saying that she's very disappointed AEW didn't mention Takeshita winning the G1. I completely agree. I think that is Teddy bonkers.
Yeah, I agree with that. Now, at the end of the show, they did announce that he will be facing Ishii on Collision. But so they'll definitely talk about it there. However, the fact that they didn't talk about it at all is a little bit weird.
Your guy, AEW's guy, just won quite possibly the most prestigious tournament in all of professional wrestling. That AEW was like sending him to.
Yep.
They're in a partnership with New Japan, and they don't acknowledge this. It's weird. It's weird. Maybe it's because they want to make a big deal about it at Forbidden Door. And to go to this from Judge, maybe it's because Takeshita will show up when Okada wins and challenges him at Forbidden Door for Dynamite, or maybe the future, not necessarily Dynamite.
All out.
Yeah, that's very possible. Very, very possible. I would avoid that, though, because for those who aren't familiar with the G1 tournament that Konosuke Takeshita just won in New Japan, it is a round-robin tournament to determine who will challenge for the IWGP World Championship, New Japan's top title, at their big events, at their WrestleMania, at their All-In Wrestle Kingdom. So Takeshita is absolutely, which is in January. So for the next few months, from now until January, Takeshita has to be kept hot. Takeshita needs to look strong. And unless you're having him beat Okada for the Continental title, I don't have that match happen. Not yet.
So that was what I was going to say, because I don't know if you necessarily do it at Forbidden Door, but there has been, the bit of, percolation on the back burner of Takeshita not liking Okada, or the fact that he has been involved with Don Callis lately. So you can kind of start maybe slow building Takeshita versus Okada. Maybe even, I guess it would probably have to be for the unified title, but maybe even further enough out where Takeshita could win the unified title and then walk into Wrestle Kingdom with that, going for the IWGP Championship. Now, I don't know if New Japan would want that, but
New Japan would want that. I don't know if AEW would want that. If I'm AEW, I wouldn't have this new beautiful title that I created be on the waist of somebody who's going to lose in their main event.
If he's going to lose.
Which is, I need to tell you, I had a cold sweat thinking about the notion of Takeshita winning the IWGP title, which sounds amazing, by the way. I love Takeshita. I want all the good things for him. But somehow, this coming around full circle in this conversation, where Okada is the man to take the IWGP title off of Takeshita. And let me tell you, no.
It would be really funny that if Okada was just like, I'm done with New Japan, I did everything I could do there, the money is slowing down because the yen is dropping. Let me go to America finally and do some stuff over there, and I can kind of.
But I'll still win your title.
And then, he's literally trying to get away from New Japan, respectfully. And then they're just like, "Hey, bud, you want our title again?" He's just gonna sit there and be like, "Wait, really? Again?"
Dude just sneezes and they put the title in his hands.
Yeah.
But
for the record, Takeshita does have a New Japan contract, so
no, I know he does.
They could put the title on him.
I think there's a slight difference between, I know we have a bunch of guys who have multiple contracts right now. Takeshita's one of a lot of the Japanese guys in particular. But I think there is still one company that, for all of these guys, that probably has first dibs on the talent. I think if Tony Khan wants Takeshita and New Japan wants Takeshita, I think Tony Khan is going to get Takeshita first in that situation.
Probably.
But that's a different conversation for a different time. Judge, we'll talk about Athena in a little bit. We're working our way through the show.
We can talk about it next.
Awesome. Maria is saying that she loves this attempted murder segment. And look, professional wrestling is at its best when it's very gay and when it's very murdery.
Yep, Jinx, you owe me a Coke.
But so this was right in the wheelhouse of what makes professional wrestling so fun. So I'm right there with you.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of that Athena match, let's move on to the main event. We saw Timeless Toni Storm and Alex Windsor face off against Mercedes Moné and the aforementioned Athena. Mercedes came out rocking Apollo Creed gear, which was really cool. Yep. And then we also had a brief glimpse of Mina Shirakawa, who came out with Toni Storm. Glad to see she's at least around again following her injury. But Excalibur did mention that she has been a little jealous of Alex Windsor being able to tango with Toni. So I hope that's probably a small seed that they've planted, but I hope it doesn't grow into anything too big, because the three of them together would probably be a lot of fun. Anyway, jumping to the end of this match, Athena pretty much started the beginning of the end here when she took out Toni Storm, hitting a pile driver on the steps, and that left Windsor to fight 2-on-1 with Mercedes and Athena, as Toni was just out cold pretty much for the rest of the match. Windsor, however, is able to recruit herself pretty well. She mostly keeps Moné isolated in the corner, but eventually Athena is able to sneak a tag in when Windsor isn't looking. Alex eventually gets in the Scorpion Deathlock on Mercedes and forces Mercedes to tap out, which I was like, what the hell? And then, wait, that was really quick. But Aubrey Edwards quickly waved it off as she was on top of things and tells Windsor that Moné isn't legal. As Windsor continues to argue, Athena stealthily, which is like the second time she's done this without anybody noticing, stealthily climbs to the top rope and is able to hit Windsor with an O-face from pretty much out of nowhere, pitting her off of that to get the win for Moné and herself. After the match, we saw Mercedes go over to the crowd and taunt Persephone, who is the CMLL representative in the TBS Championship 4-way match. And then Persephone shoved shoved Mercedes to the ground, and that led to security stepping in. And meanwhile, Choni had been being checked on by the medical team ever since taking that pile driver, and she finally started to come to after the match, wobbly standing up as Athena and Billy Starks were celebrating, and we went off the air. So, James, I really like this match. I liked the beginning with Mercedes and Athena, obviously, with their past, not really being on the same page. Athena continuing telling Mercedes together. And then when we come out of commercial, she's the one who hits Mercedes in the face and allows the hot tag to Toni Storm. But eventually they're able to overcome that because Athena is just vicious. And that pile driver looked like it fucking hurt.
It really did. And I loved that it actually just took her out.
Yeah.
I'm not somebody who criticizes AEW too much for the superhuman recovery of their stars sometimes from big moves.
I.e. Brody taking a spike pile driver earlier in the night, immediately getting back up.
Yeah. But there are certain instances where a big move in big circumstances should be what takes somebody out of a match for however long. Even if it is a ridiculously long amount of time, which I don't think it was here. I'm just saying something should be big enough to take people out. And a pile driver onto steel steps absolutely should. And they played it beautifully. They were selling it after the match. I really, really enjoyed it.
Honestly, that was so good. I'm still sitting here hoping that was a sell because I rewatched the replay, and it's hard to sometimes tell, especially with people with long hair, where their hair ends and where their head begins. Tony's head seemed very close to hitting the steps. Now, I trust Athena. Obviously she's a great worker, and I trust Toni. And I think her acting ability is such that I'm probably getting worked, but I'm not going to sit here and lie that I'm not the tiniest bit nervous.
Darling, she's timeless.
I know.
She is an excellent performer. But no, I think she's fine. Or, God willing, she is fine. But it was a great spot. It was a great spot, well executed. I think she's fine based off the fact that they still put the camera on her afterwards.
Yeah.
If she was hurt, they wouldn't have put the camera on her. That's not how AEW really does things. So I'm going to go on.
Stopped after a couple of minutes.
But they went after the match too. After the match too, they did it. So I'm going to assume she's okay. Or I'm going to really, really, really hope she's okay. But just fun Matchup. Windsor, I'm warming up to her so much. To me, she's just getting so much of it right. Like I love her vignettes or her promos with Toni, where she's funny, but she's not as over the top as Toni.
She's also, I like the one from a couple of weeks ago where she's trying not to be overtly sexual and just
I'm doing it too. Yeah. It's a great line, and it shows. It's like Toni is one of those people that you can't help yourself with. You get sucked into her and her shtick. Yeah. And I thought that was a great touch. But I'm really, really warming up to Windsor in the ring, personality wise. I think she's great. I was having trouble fully understanding, or at least maybe I missed something. Are they selling right now that Mercedes is in fact afraid of Toni after their match? Like she's shook by the fact, like when she backed out of the match, like she had that stare down with Toni where I think Toni sniffed her, and then she backed into the corner and Athena tagged herself in.
Oh, was that also when Toni yelled, "Get in my belly like fat bastard"?
Yes,
was that bit? I think it was more of just a, "You're fucking weird, I'm getting away from you." But I mean, I can see that being a small bit in the match where Mercedes psychologically is probably a little thrown off by Toni because she is the only person in AEW, or since she has been in AEW, who has been able to beat her anywhere on the planet. So I would be a little, afraid of her too, and a little afraid of, somebody yelling to get in my belly after sniffing me. It's fucking weird.
It's bonk, right? Like I don't know why, but it's bonk.
I'm sure there's a subreddit for it.
Oh, that should not be the basis. But I know you're right. All right.
r/rule34. I do want to say two things. One, I know the judge had brought this up and we put this up already, but that tope suicida by Athena when she went through Mercedes' legs. And that was a great sequence following that too, to go into the commercial break. Athena hit that table so fucking hard.
Yep.
The sound that it made, and I don't know if it was her shoulder, but it looked like it was her head, and then I was like, she's dead. Somebody finally actually suicided. She's dead because that noise. I was like, how did she not split her head open? Like I thought it would have been like opened up like an egg. She hit so hard, and then she just got up immediately and hit a pile driver not a pile driver, a power bomb onto Toni, and then took a cannonball from Windsor. So she is so unbelievable. It's been great being able to see her consistently on AEW television again. And Maria is convinced that she's going to win the women's championship, the women's world championship on Sunday. We'll see.
Maria, you know what our big rule is here on the pod. We are big believers in the rule of opposite momentum. And it's not 100% accurate all the time.
Because that's why it's the theory of opposite momentum. You keep going on a rule. I think theory is more scientifically accurate.
No, you're absolutely right, Doc. This is the theory of opposite momentum, and she looked too good tonight. I'm rooting for her. Quite frankly, I'd be more than okay with it. I would be more than okay with it. If they did a fun bit where it turned out that Windsor was actually a minion all along, I'm in. I'm in. But I don't know. I think Toni might be winning it, which if she does, I don't know who's left.
Ooh, that's a good point.
I don't know who's left. So let's see. But either way, I'm going to be happy. It's a match I'm very, very much looking forward to.
Yeah, we got, a taste of it tonight, but I am excited to really be able to, have them take the limiters off and see what they can do on Sunday. And I imagine the crowd's going to be super into that one. They love Toni, and I think Athena is at that point where the Smarks, which is basically just, the British Isles and us, love Athena because everyone thinks she's underutilized and is having, arguably the greatest women's title run ever.
Yep.
So it's going to be a lot of fun. All right, let's head back to the top of the show. First thing we had was Bryan Danielson making his entrance as he was on commentary tonight. Thought he did a great job. I love when he's on commentary just because he marks out at certain things.
I'm not saying I need it right now because it's still kind of fresh. I would love full-time commentator Bryan Danielson.
Him on Collision next to Nigel.
Yeah, right. Oh my! I think that's my biggest heartbreak of the night. That Bryan couldn't do commentary for a Nigel segment or a Nigel match.
He might. I think they taped Collision right after this.
Oh, please.
Yeah, no, they did because there's spoilers up on Reddit. I saw a couple. There was a debut tonight in AEW. I don't know if it's a signing, but somebody debuted, so it looks good.
Anybody I know?
Yeah.
Guy or girl?
Woman.
Oh, I know who it was. Yeah, I saw.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Anyway, after Bryan made his entrance, we started the show proper with a Will Ospreay and Jon Moxley face-to-face. So Ospreay makes his entrance first, comes down, grabs a mic, and regales us of a story of working a local indie in Glasgow and then going to get, I believe he called it a Greg sausage roll afterwards. And the entire crowd just went ballistic in the most hometown pop way possible. And then a bunch of people in Jersey got upset because it's a Taylor ham. Anyway, Will then said he was given the worst news last week after what the Death Riders did to him, saying he finally feels human and scared for the first time. He admits then that he wasn't cleared last week for Forbidden Door, which is why he took matters into his own hands and made the challenge to the Lights Out Steel Cage match, willing to accept the risks in order to protect the future of AEW. And if Sunday is the last time he can be Will Ospreay, then you best believe you will be getting the best Will Ospreay. But for him, this is about revenge, which is why he is doing it. And he'll be going into that cage with 4 of his good friends in order to take a pound of flesh from Moxley before they take a scalpel to his neck. Moxley then makes his entrance with Marina, which takes about 10 minutes, eventually getting into the ring with Shafir before Claudio and Wheeler start to surround the ring and get up on the apron, Velociraptor style. Ospreay calls him out on this, asking if the ace of AEW needs chuckles and slap. Did he call him slaphead or slap nuts? I think he called him slaphead.
I thought slaphead.
Yeah, sorry, I was getting confused with my double J there. Anyway, asking the ace of AEW if he needs chuckles and slaphead to fight his battles for him. Will says that if Moxley wants to take him out, he better do it himself because Will says he is coming for him. Moxley and the Death Riders then, I don't know if they went to take a step back, but maybe it looked like they were trying to leave. I don't know what they were doing. But as they do so, Speedball, Mike Bailey, and Kevin Knight hit the ring, going after Claudio and Wheeler. Ospreay bails out, probably because he's not cleared, but whatever. Or he got hit. I don't know. It was very quick cut there. But either way, Hiroshi Tanahashi's music then hits, and he makes his sweet-ass way down to the ring.
He tried. His knees are not real anymore.
He's also Hiroshi Tanahashi. He's too cool. He could do whatever he wants. Anyway, he eventually joins the brawl, and eventually that allows the match to begin between those 6 men. So, James, this was good. I enjoyed the interaction between the two men. I don't even think Moxley said anything on the microphone, which was cool. But I think the news coming out of here is Will's subtle reference to the fact that he's going to maybe have to have neck surgery. And it's something they pointed out on commentary with Excalibur and Bryan, obviously. So I don't really know what's up with Will. There's, walking a bit of a tightrope here between a work and a shoot, whether or not he's hurt, maybe, how hurt he is. Because I don't think they would allow him to do this if he was hurt enough where he can get more injured. But they're playing into it by making this a lights out match. But either way, it sounds like this might be Will's last match for a while, and he might have to go away and get some surgery to fix his neck up.
Can I mark out with you? Can I be a total fantasy booker real quick?
Sure.
Worst case scenario here, that Will is actually really hurt and he has to get surgery. What if it's a fake out until Sunday? And then he reveals on Sunday he can't be in the match, but he found a replacement. And out comes Eddie Kingston.
Look, if Will can't go, which I don't think I think he really, really, really wants to wrestle. Which is why I think they're writing it this way. I think that might be part of the reason why this is a multi-man match, and maybe part of the reason why it's a steel cage match, which is going to sound weird, but it might protect him more.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
I mean, the Sting almost exclusively wrestled, some sort of
stipulation match,
stipulation match.
Stuff that could hide, smoke and mirrors kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. You can put him through end table and he can be in the corner for 20 minutes. But I think he just wants to perform in front of his home crowd before he has to go get this surgery. So I think he's wrestling no matter what. If they need a replacement, though, Eddie would get a crazy-ass pop because it's Eddie. And everyone loves him. Doesn't matter what side of the pond you're on. Everyone loves Eddie. See, even Maria loves Eddie. So it's a good backup plan. I am hoping Will is able to wrestle, though.
Of course. I at Forbidden Door of all places, yes, I would love to see Will be able to do it. But
in the O2, I think even more specifically.
Yeah, but more than anything, I was there actually. That's crazy. More than anything, I just want him to be okay.
Yeah.
That's what's really important. I want him to be okay. So we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully we're all getting worked, brother.
Like I said, I think we're riding the line between the two, and I wouldn't be surprised if Will had to go get some sort of procedure, but I'm hoping that he doesn't maybe need a neck fusion or any shit like that.
Yeah.
Because then he'd be out for years, probably.
Yeah. Other than that, it's really weird. I thought this was a good back and forth between the guys. I thought this was good everything. It's weird to think that in an alternate reality, this would have been the feud that led into the end of the Moxley title reign. Because Will had a lot of people in his corner that he could have or should have been the guy to beat him. And I think everything worked out the way it should have. I think Hangman was the right guy to do it. But I do think if certain things might have played out a little bit differently, it would have been Ospreay walking out of All In as champion.
Yeah.
So really cool to sort of have this glimpse into the what if.
Yeah. And I think, A, that is why it made the match between him and Hangman so compelling, because I didn't know who was going to win. But then, B, I think there's a good possibility that he wasn't that guy because of this neck injury. So,
yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Maria asking if not Eddie Kingston, maybe Jay White. Reports are Jay's done till at least the end of the year. Now, no one really knows why, but they've been playing that pretty close to the vest. But it doesn't look like he's going to come back anytime soon, unfortunately.
Sticking to the Jay White thing, do we have actual confirmation it was MJF who attacked Hangman in the parking lot?
Wait, from last week?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he stood over him and was like...
Oh, he saw it? Because I didn't watch. So I wasn't sure if it was maybe a red herring thing, but it
was MJF. He stood
MJF.
over him.
Okay.
He was like, fuck you, you little bitch. Maybe not in those words, but...
yeah, in MJF speak.
Yeah.
In MJF speak. All right, because I I'm giving myself the false hope that it could be Jay White who takes the title off of Hanger. But we're way away. We're way away.
Yeah, he's got to get healthy first. The Bang Banging itself needs to get healthy. They haven't been at full strength in so long.
I'm so mad at you. So mad at you that you put it in my head that Ace Austin might join the Bang Bang Gang.
Oh, you are so welcome.
Oh, I hate it because I want it so badly. But of course, they're not going to acknowledge their Bullet Club past. Of course, they're not.
I think they will probably do some sort of thing where, like, Jay White recruited Ace Austin a long time ago. They've, like, you know, they've been friends. Jay's been somewhat of a mentor to Ace Austin. Like, that sort of shit.
Yeah.
Like, they'll reference it without explicitly saying.
What I would like to see is Ace says something along the lines of, while Jay is gone, he's brought me in to sort of keep everything together. And God,
Jay's brought me in as reinforcements for you guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they're down two. They're down two. They're down one of the guns and Jay. So
no, they're down like 4.
Well, Juice is back and the other gun is back, unless they both got hurt.
No, they're there, but dude, come on, Cardblade.
Oh yeah, Cardblade. Oh yeah, he got hurt too. Damn.
Yeah, and what's the other one? I
forgot there was a fourth.
It's another cardboard, but of Juice, I think.
No.
Come on.
I was like, how many people were in this fucking club? No, yeah, I would love to see Ace Austin go there. And shouts to him getting that contract. Let's go. A close personal friend, Ace Austin. I never said I met him. I said I saw him one time.
We were definitely next to each other one time.
Oh no, I was going for the Marcus Aurelius. I never said I met him. I said he touched my shoulder once. All right, let's get into the match that followed the brawl here, which was the Death Riders. It was Moxley, Claudio, and Wheeler Yuta facing off against the Ace Hiroshi Tanahashi and JetSpeed, the Speedball Mike Bailey, and Kevin Knight. We also know. Anyway, Marina got thrown out of ringside pretty early in the match. She jumped up on the apron, so she got tossed. I think, so I kind of missed this for a second because I was like putting something in the oven. I think that Will Ospreay followed her out because it was mentioned later on commentary. Anyway, to get to the end of the match, after a triple twist and shout, Tana and JetSpeed climbed up to the top ropes, with Knight and Bailey taking out Claudio and Moxley on the outside with a couple of dives. And Tanahashi was going to go for the high 5-0, but then the Bullet Club War Dogs, led by Gabe Kidd, came in and interfered. I always forget Clark Connors is one of them. I loved him back in the NXT UK tournament.
Dude's so cool.
Anyway, it looks like then that Wheeler Yuta has the advantage because Tanahashi got thrown off the top rope. But Ospreay came out onto the stage with a body bag, presumably containing Marina Shafir. As Will threatens to throw it off of the stage, the Death Riders and the War Dogs get distracted, and that allows JetSpeed to hit stereo tope con heroes onto Moxley and Claudio, and maybe even some of the War Dogs. Anyway, back in the ring, Tanahashi is again able to lay out Wheeler Yuta, I believe, with a sling blade. Jeez. And then he goes up top, and this time is able to hit the high fly flow for the win. After the match, the Death Riders and the War Dogs immediately jump everybody, with Claudio and Moxley heading into a standoff on the ramp with Ospreay. However, the Young Bucks then appear behind Will and hit him with a pair of super kicks to take him out. Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong, for some reason.
Thank you. This had to have been something we missed from last week.
No, it must have been on Collision because I watched last week. I had a few, but I did watch last week's episode, and I do not remember them getting involved in anything. Anyway, they come out and fight the Bucks, and they go all the way into the back and take them out of the picture. So then Mox, Claudio, and Wheeler go to get Marina out of the body bag, but when they open it, Darby Allin comes out of it instead and just starts attacking everybody, eventually jumping on Claudio's back and like basically riding him like a bull, holding his nose and directing him around. Then the Ops come out and join the fray, and then everyone's brawling, and it spills into the crowd, and there's like 20 people involved. And the Death Riders and War Dogs seemingly have the advantage near an entranceway, But as they're trying to beat everybody down, Darby sneaks up and around and climbs to the top of the entranceway and hits the coffin drops onto the Death Riders and War Dogs to make the save. And it allows the faces to get back to the ring and regroup. As I should have just called them the Death Dogs. That would have been cool. They are all on the ground and eventually recover. And then Moxley curses into the microphone and the segment ends. So James, the match was good. Tanahashi, as you said, his knees are shot. So I love him, but it looks like he's moving in quicksand. It's still great to watch him, though. Everybody else, I think, played their parts perfectly. And then you had that massive brawl after, which it wouldn't surprise me if it led to the Ops facing off against the War Dogs on Sunday, which would
I think
awesome.
that's the big thing here. I think we're gonna get a trios match out of it.
Yeah. So a lot of chaos and confusion, but it was a lot of fun, and I loved it.
I did too.
It could also be a 5-man if they wanted to, because I don't
the Bucks and Paragon.
I don't think JetSpeed's doing anything. The Bucks are in the cage match.
Oh yeah. God, it makes it even weirder. Where the fuck was Kenny and
That's
what
a good
the
question.
fuck?
But it could be you could do JetSpeed and the Ops versus as many Bullet Club guys as you want.
Yeah,
you could do it that way, except for Gabe Kidd because he's in the cage match too.
I love that we got the War Dogs Bullet Club because the report that's been going around the last week or so. Why haven't we seen Evil in any of Tony Khan's promotions or shows? Tony Khan just isn't a fan of Evil.
I guess not.
Look, this was a lot of fun. Very insensitive of you to bring up quicksand when it comes to Tanahashi. We know firsthand how dangerous that could be here at the pod.
Yeah, that's true.
For a little while.
That's why I made the joke.
I maybe it's your coping mechanism, but for the rest of us who were missing you, it's still a touchy subject.
So is my back.
I love Tana. I'm really happy he gets to have one last big show in the United States.
United Kingdom.
You're right. United Kingdom. Damn.
He
already had his last big US show. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it was in Chicago.
Yeah.
Somebody said that they should bring him in for something else in AEW, and then they could have been like, well, no, his last big New Japan show in the United States was this. We're getting him one more time in America.
Yeah. But this is fine, honestly. I love him. I love him, but this retirement tour should have happened like 2 years ago, if not a little longer. So it is what it is.
Dude, Muda hasn't even retired yet, right? Or
Muda could still go.
Fair.
Tana is struggling. And I'm saying this as someone who loves him. He's just, I don't want to see guys that I have so much love and respect for hobble out. I want to see them walk out.
Yeah.
So, but regardless of all that, the match was fun. JetSpeed were the right partners for Tana because they were able to carry a lot of the load themselves. This was fun. The Death Riders are definitely, it feels like they're I know who they're missing, but it feels like they're missing somebody. Like Pac not being there is hurting them, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But
because they need having only 3 guys when you're in a trios match hurt. I mean, it's 4 of them, but the one of them is Marina, and while she does get involved, having her make a distraction while Pac is doing something on the other side, or Wheeler, or whoever it is a lot easier to, I guess, quote unquote, write and perform than just having one person getting distracted. Though I like the wrinkle of her getting thrown out early.
Yeah, no, I did too. I thought it was a lot of fun seeing Ospreay come back with that shit-eating grin, pick her up, and then just run with her. I need you to be honest with me.
Okay.
You knew who was in that body bag.
Oh, yeah, of course.
We all knew who was in that body bag. Why the fuck did the Death Riders think that Will Ospreay all of a sudden decided to put a woman in a body bag and use her as, I guess, as a hostage? What? You know that bit from Star Wars Episode 3 when Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Palpatine get stuck in the ray shields? It's like, how did this happen? We're better than this.
Hey, we're not this stupid. Apparently we are.
Buddy, guys, what are you doing? It's his thing. Body bags are his thing.
Well, I guess you can kind of think back to last week. They put Wheeler in a body bag last week, and so maybe they're not above it, and they never know where Darby is. Darby, sometimes he's in the rafters, sometimes he's I guess he's been below the ring one time. Sometimes he's just coming through the crowd. Like, they are always looking for Darby, and they're distracted by the match. They're distracted. There's a lot of shit going on, trying to outthink them to the point where, like, oh yeah, it's definitely Darby in the body bag. Why would Will do that? It could also, you got to think of the possibility where, oh, Darby did this and he's using Will to distract him, and he's going to come in from the rafters or something. So, I think that's the logic that Moxley's probably using there. Plus, he got hit in the head for 10 minutes before that. Probably
getting hit in the head for decades at this point. It's
I
not
know.
an excuse anymore. It should all be scar tissue.
It is. I mean, it's not full on Devon Dudley, but it's when he got stabbed with a fork and it immediately opened up. Like,
yeah, that was rough. That was rough.
So yeah, I thought, look, wrestling sometimes is stupid and fun, and that was stupid and fun. That's all it was.
When you're right, you're right.
Thanks, I appreciate it. All right. Moving on after that, we got a quick video package for Hangman versus MJF on Sunday, and then we moved to an in-ring interview with Adam Copeland and Christian Cage, led by one Tony Schiavone. So the two men come down, Tony introduces them, and Christian, kind of forces the mic over from Tony and tries to start things off by telling the fans to sit down and shut their mouths as he conducts his business. But Copeland cuts him off, asking him if he's still going to be that guy. And he's like, well, I guess maybe you are, because you are still an asshole. However, Copeland says that he knows sometimes in this business you need an asshole, and Christian is his asshole. Okay. Tony then asks Christian if he found himself after what Copeland told him at All In. And Cage says he went and looked long and hard in the mirror, and he did indeed find himself. And he found that he doesn't need to change a thing about himself because he is perfect the way he is. Christian says that he and Copeland are not on the same page at the moment because of everything that's happened and has been said between the two of them. But at least for now, they are writing in the same book.
I like that line a lot. I thought that was a good line.
It was very well written. Even then, this is still a reunion of necessity, as they have agreed to help each other with each other's problems. Copeland's problem with FTR and Christian's problem with Nick Wayne and Kip Sabian. And while Christian can't commit to anything beyond that, and he knows that his word doesn't mean much to Copeland right now, he does give his word that he will be the best tag team partner he can be to Copeland in these battles. The two then shake hands, and everything seems all hunky-dory, but that then leads to Kip Sabian and Mother Wayne coming out, with Kip calling Christian a kiss ass for the way he's been pandering to the crowd, and Mother Wayne just trying to get some heat from Glasgow. Nick Wayne then appears up on the Tron. What's up, Jorky? Good to see you. Nick Wayne then appears up on the Tron, holding crutches. They weren't necessarily noticeable, but you could tell what they were. And he recounts the events of last week, Christian coming out to make the save, carrying Spike, and then reveals that Christian broke his foot when he attacked Nick. And Nick says that this might be a blessing in disguise for Copeland and Christian, because if he was there, he would have embarrassed them, ruining what would have been a very happy reunion, and he might even ruin whatever legacy their careers might have had. So, like I said, might be you can go, James. Go ahead. It might be a blessing in disguise for them.
What did I do?
Oh, nothing. You kept moving your headphone. I thought you had to get off.
No. But it's itching the top of my head for some reason. So it just, yeah.
Oh, okay. Anyway, as I was saying, Wayne mentions that him not being there might be a blessing in disguise for Christian and Copeland. Or is it? And then he says that he's always one step ahead of Christian before the video cuts, and he plays a short clip of somebody, the double Rizzler, somebody in a lab injecting something into someone, and then we get a shot of a sit-up from Killswitch as he is revived in a lab. And Killswitch makes his grand return to AEW.
Oh my god, that was so fucking cool.
Him and Kip head down to the ring and surround it. Kip going on the opposite side. And Killswitch steps in the ring, and Kip tries to, and Kip is fended off by Christian, but Killswitch is able to grab Copeland and hit him with a massive choke slam. Christian then, it was a choke slam.
It was the choke slam.
Christian and Killswitch, after Christian turns around, then have a big stare down before Killswitch fakes leaving, turns around, and hits him with a bigger choke slam. The Christian one was definitely bigger. And then Killswitch is officially named for the replacement, as a replacement for Nick Wayne.
I am so happy, upset. I am so conflicted and annoyed and happy and frustrated and excited all in one.
Yeah, I mean, I thought this promo from at the beginning was great between Copeland and Christian. I like this new dynamic that they have. You kind of usually need to have that asshole friend, and sometimes you fight with them, but when the chips are truly down, they will have your back. Yeah. But then, just Killswitch coming back is a miracle almost in and of itself. I'm so happy he's not only just healthy, but he is able to come back. But I can see where you're, I don't guess trepidation or why you're upset here, just because he's coming back as a heel when we want to cheer for him after everything.
And they did. They needed to take a second to allow the crowd to cheer for him.
Yeah, it didn't really breathe a lot.
And a couple things across the board. Let's work our way through. The Cope Christian aspect, where it's just the two of them. Sorry, Mr. Shivani, just the two of them. I loved it. I loved it because there are so many people who obviously want Cope and Christian back together as a tag team, but there is that level of, but Christian is so good as a heel. I don't want to ruin him by just making him a cookie cutter babyface who does the 5-second poses with his buddy. I get it. I get it. So this feels like it's the best of both worlds. Cope is just happy he's got his buddy back. He doesn't care what form he's in. He doesn't care what body part he is. In this case, he's an asshole. But, he's just happy he has his buddy back. So he's going to put up with Christian being an asshole. So I think we're going to get the goofiness out of Cope. Ooh, Jorky. You're getting my nips hard, but we'll talk about that in a second.
That's the real forbidden door right there.
That is. Well, no, Christian is the real forbidden door, apparently.
I thought he did this.
No,
I know.
Asshole.
I know. I got it.
But I loved it. I think it's the right way to go. I'm sure we're going to see Christian slowly revert to just straight up babyface over time, but this is the way to do it. This is the way to keep people on board with Christian without it going away from them. This is the best of both worlds. So happy with Christian.
Yeah. Especially too, because with Christian, he can be an asshole and be a babyface at the same time.
Yes,
he's going to be good at it. So he doesn't have to change his shtick at all.
And AEW is a place where you can get away with that. Yeah. WWE, it's a lot harder to be the asshole babyface. Very few people can do it. Or the lovable heel. It's harder to pull off in WWE. AEW makes that work. Progressing into that segment, I thought Nick Wayne cut a great promo. I thought Nick was great. I'm devastated that he's hurt. I'm hoping this is a quick recovery. I hope this is one of those things, like a broken foot. It sucks. It really does. But one of those things. Yeah, it could either be debilitating that you're gone for a while, or it's one of those things, it's a quick recovery. It's just, why aggravate it?
Because there's so many tiny little bones in your foot. If you can break one of them, and I did it once. I broke a tiny little bone on the side of my foot because I almost rolled my ankle and I managed to not do it, but just the weight. And it hurt me for 2 months, but there was nothing I could do about it. I just went about my day to day. I just couldn't run and plant and stuff, and I missed a couple of weeks.
You got to take it easy. You got to take it. So I'm glad that they're letting him, and I'm glad that he's doing it. He's 20 years old. There is no reason to fuck up the rest of your career over one matchup.
Yeah, granted, it's a big one against.
It is
against your mentor Christian Cage,
but that could still come.
Adam Copeland, yeah. So I think they will run that back. I think you have to.
You give me a trios match of Nick Wayne, Kip Sabian, and Lucha Switch, and Killsaurus. I'm working on it. We're shopping it around.
Killosaurus sounds like a Jurassic World dinosaur.
You made it sound better. But give me that match. Give me those three versus Cope, Christian, and Rhino. We're in, bro. We're in. If I had a line of confection sugar, I would be snorting that shit right now.
I don't know. Last time you did that, yeah.
it was delicious. And it made our intro for a while.
It's just powdered sugar. It's delicious.
So that was all very well done. Now, the Luchasaurus aspect of it truly is where I'm struggling a little bit because we talked about it. You broached it.
Good word.
They want to cheer him. We want to cheer him. This is a guy who we were building towards getting that babyface revenge against Christian. But then due to very real life, unfortunate circumstances, that storyline got completely kaput. We didn't get to see it reach its completion. And obviously that's more important. Real life safety is way more important than wrestling storylines. But now all that buildup gets sidestepped where he's still the bad guy in this situation.
Yeah.
And we're rooting for Christian. It feels wrong. I'm not thrilled with that. And again, like we said, the crowd was cheering him. The crowd wants to cheer him. They even made a point. He's wearing the green and black again. This isn't straight up kill switch anymore. So it's very weird. And more than anything, he's coming back for a loss because there is no way on God's green earth Cope and Christian's first tag team match since 2011 is going to be a loss.
Good Lord. I didn't realize it was that long.
WrestleMania 27.
I was graduating high school.
So, and before that, the last time they were a tag team was like 2001. So there is no way they're losing their first tag team match. So we brought him back to lose. Yeah. Not thrilled.
At least he won't get pinned. That's what Kip is for.
And he does it so well.
Yeah. No, I love Kip.
He does it so well. But overall, this was the segment of the night. We're going to get into match of the night very soon. But segment of the night, this was it for me. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. And Cope Christian feels so real. And I want to get into this comment from Maria because it was in the back of my head. It was in the back of my mind the entire time I was watching it. Maria saying, do you guys remember before the end? Oh, you were going to do it?
Oh, no, I wasn't. I didn't realize you were going to this comment. Go ahead.
Do you guys remember before the NWO when Lex Luger and Sting were a tag team and Lex was a heel and Sting was a babyface while tag team champs? Yes. Vaguely. So the whole bit was Luger, who was a heel.
And constantly turned on Sting.
No. He was legitimately friends with Sting. But the thing was, he hid the fact that he was a heel from Sting. So, like, after they won a match, Sting would be coming up the ramp and he'd be high-fiving kids. And while Luger is in Sting's eye line, he'd be high-fiving kids too. But the moment Sting would like turn around, Luger would be like, "Get the fuck off me," kind of thing. He would flip back to who he really was when Sting wasn't looking.
Yeah. Wasn't he like attacking people behind Sting's back? You know, he's doing heel shit and yeah.
Yes. And he wasn't doing it to trick Sting. It's just, this is my friend who is a babyface while I'm the bad guy. So I'm going to try to play by the rules while he's around. And if that's what we get here, I am so into it. And the crux, Maria, what I love about this comment is this is what brought Cope's storyline into AEW. His very first interaction with Christian was saving Sting from Christian. And then Cope telling him, that was our guy when we were kids. So there's a kernel of truth in almost all of these personal storylines. Absolutely, I believe Cope and Christian had the story in the back of their brain, or that dynamic in the back of their heads as they were cooking this up.
Yeah.
So really well brought up, Maria. Thank you for bringing it. Maria also saying Luchasaurus is going to turn babyface after losing at Forbidden Door. I don't think it's going to be right then, but yes, I think it is going to happen.
Yeah. And if I may really quick with Killswitch / Luchasaurus, I wasn't sure what they were calling him at the very beginning because Excalibur didn't say it for a while until...
I think there's a reason.
Yes, until he was just like, it's been announced, Killswitch has officially been will be filling in for Nick Wayne at Forbidden Door, which was like right at the end of the segment. Because I wrote in my notes Luchasaurus every time. I also don't know how to spell it, but I got really close. And then I had to go back and replace them all with Killswitch. And I was like, oh, man. But I think despite the fact that he is coming back heel, he does have this thing going for him babyface-wise, where even before he went out, people were chanting Luchasaurus at him. Yeah. And we saw it again tonight, immediately upon his comeback. So he's still going to get face pops because he's going to be in the same position he was basically before he left. We still want the face turn from him.
He's going to get face pops because he's a goddamn walking dinosaur. That's too cool.
He's with multiple PhDs. So to bring back BTE lore. So I do think like he's still going to get cheered. He's still going to get face pops, even though he's heel for a little while. I agree that they're going to turn him babyface, but I agree with you that it's going to be a minute before they do so.
Yeah. I think it's not Forbidden Door, maybe around All Out. Maybe.
Yeah, that makes sense.
We'll see. Going to Jerky TV's comment. I would also be down for Captain Charisma to come back. Heel Christian is great, but Captain Charisma is also fun too. I agree. And look, we're going to get it. I do think we are going to get the pure babyface Christian because he is fun, but undeniably there are just some people who are better at being a heel, even if they are a good babyface. Like Randy Orton is a good babyface. He is an incredible heel.
Well, there's also, except for now, like old man, I don't give a fuck, Randy Orton.
Yeah,
he's a phenomenal babyface. Back in the day when he was babyface, maybe not as good.
Seth Rollins, good babyface, better heel.
Yep.
It's just how it works sometimes. But yes, I think we're going to get a mix of it. I think we're going to get the guy who still tells the crowd to shut up the way he did tonight. Sit down and shut your mouth kind of thing.
As I conduct my business.
But I also think he's probably going to be a goofy guy who might also blow a kazoo every once in a while.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think we're going to get like a hybrid of the two, and it'll be fun.
Could you book the match that they struggle to get on the same page at first?
Fully expect it.
And I think it's I agree. I think that's absolutely what's going to happen. But I still think they win.
Yeah.
I still think Cope and Christian are going to win their first tag team match in 14 years. So, yeah, we'll see. Going back to this real quick. ENC going to join the Dudley Hardy match. No, it's not going to happen. I would love for it to happen, but it's not going to happen. Quite frankly, Tony Khan would be an idiot to let it happen.
Yeah.
I know that we all believe in the rule of cool. Sometimes you just let shit happen because it's cool. But for Tony Khan to let TNA get that match for WWE's benefit would be foolish.
And for the benefit of those with flash photography. But yes, you're right.
I applaud you. I'm humbled by you. I'm in awe of you. Well done.
Thank you.
A subtle but excellent. It reeked of awesomeness kind of reference.
Thanks.
So bravo, sir.
That's what I'm here for.
But look, hey, just going off some dirt sheets, going off some rumors. Cope's contract is up in October. That's when the match is going to happen. I have no idea what Christian's contract situation is. I don't know. I don't know.
Very interesting.
But I think the big thing, and let's red pill, blue pill this. I would love to see what people say in the comments. Maybe we should make a thing about it. If Cope goes, like, he tells Tony, for one match. For one night. I'm gonna let once the contract's up, I'm gonna come back to you, but I get to have one last match elsewhere, either in WWE or TNA. Would you rather see, Rev? Let me know. Would you rather see Cope and Christian versus the Hardys and Team 3D / the Dudleys, or would you rather see Cope versus Cena one last time? You got one of the two. And people in the audience, let us know. Crowd, let us know.
I think I would rather see the three-way match more. I think the Cena Copeland match would be better because I think Cena can go better than anybody in the three-way match except for Cope and Christian.
Sir. I'm not even saying this as a stan. TNA Hardys are not AEW Hardys. Those two guys that were in AEW were hobbling. It's kind of incredible what the Hardys are doing in TNA right now. You know me, I've been very objectively honest about TNA and how disappointed I've been.
Yeah.
The Hardys are doing something that I don't understand.
Maybe in TNA, the Lake of Reincarnation works better.
Maybe. They might have been snorting some of the stem cells that Rey Mysterio wasn't using. But my God, they are working at a completely different rate. But that's a different conversation for a different time.
Yeah, it might have to do with the schedule too. But
yeah, it's very possible.
Yeah. We never really acknowledged this. Jorky gave us $1, so thank you for the donation, dude. We should have got to that a lot sooner, but we appreciate it.
Yeah. Maria saying she's with the first choice. Is the first choice Cena Cope or
no? It was the three-way.
Oh, the three-way, the tag team match. Okay, cool.
Yeah. All right, let's hit the last thing we have to cover this evening, which was FTR versus Brodido for the AEW World Tag Team Championship Eliminator Tournament Final. There's always a mouth.
Mother of God,
this match
was incredible.
This was great. It was long. It went the full, 30-minute time limit?
Yep. Time limit draw.
Yeah, which we'll get to. So at one point, very early in the match, Dak. This was great. Dak got pissed off, so he hopped out of the ring, grabbed the chair, and threw it into the ring. And referee Paul Turner caught it on the fly.
Yep.
And then threw it back out. So then Dax was like, all right, we'll do it again, and chucked another chair in, and Turner caught it again and threw it out again, and the crowd loved it. So shout out Paul Turner. Shout out Dax being smart enough to do it twice.
Yeah, Dax was very good with reacting to things live tonight.
Yeah.
Like there was a moment where they were giving Stokely shit from the audience was giving Stokely shit, and he grabbed the mic and he talked them down and hyped up Stokely. That's great work. That's great heel work.
He does that quite well. Honestly, Dax and Cash are pretty decent at it. But that was actually following. It was right before the commercial break. Brody went for, I think it was a dive. I don't know what he was going for. But Stokely had a pipe in his sling or something. So he hit Brody with it and ended up busting Brody open. Pretty bad, too. Brody was gushing. And then they were chanting, "Fuck you, Stokely." And then that's when Dax got on the mic and was like, "This is Big Stoke. You treat him with some respect." And then, like I said, commercial break. All right, so then I'm going to do my best to cover the last 5 minutes or so of this match. But there's a lot, so I'm going to skip a couple of the smaller things. So we got about 5 minutes left in the match, and Brody got hit with a shatter machine, but it was after Bandido had blind tagged in. So he was going one-on-one with FTR. That eventually led to Bandido getting hit with a reverse doomsday device, but then he gets set up for a shatter machine when Brody rejoins the fight, and he makes the save by shoving Cash out of the way. But Bandido is pretty much out at this point, so he's on the ground. Brody then, after a bit of fighting, because it's still 2-on-1 again, he gets taken out again with an assisted spike pile driver on the apron. But after that happens, Bandido climbs up to the top and hits a Orihara moonsault to take out FTR. Bandido then got Dax back in the ring, but he wasn't really able to do anything, though, and because he's going 2-on-1. And that ends with him getting hit with the shatter machine himself. But then the pin gets broken up by Brody with about a minute left.
I was jaw dropped when Brody made that save.
He was so far. I was just like, oh, they're going to do the thing when he doesn't get there. And he got there.
Oh, so
what
good.
A dive. So there's a minute left. And for some godforsaken reason, FTR decides to take out a table. I don't know where they thought this had this time, but whatever. That then leads to Brody fighting with Dax, and he eventually takes Dax on the outside by hitting the crossbody into the barricade. Cash and Bandido were also then going at it. And then, so Cash is on the outside. Bandido was in the inside. Bandido made a dive at him, but Cash, switched places with him. So Bandido was able to make a baseball slide to the floor. And then Cash tried to hit a tope suicida, but Brody, kind of half shoved Bandido out of the way. And then, so it kind of came out where both Brody and Cash crashed through the table.
No. Brody didn't go through the table.
He did miss.
It was so close, but he didn't go through the table.
Brody was kind of selling it like he did after, so that was was that their intention? But yeah, Cash ate most, if not all, of that table.
Which is good, because if he did put Brody through the table, they would have won.
Oh, yeah.
would have won.
Oh, yeah, it's DQ.
Yeah.
Fair point. So as that happens, the bell rings and time has expired. But there's no announcement, which was immediate announcement, which is weird. So Bandido continues to fight through the bell. He gets Dax. He brings him into the ring and hits him with a 21 plex and pins him for the crowd's 3 count. But it was then announced that there was a time limit draw, and Bandido starts arguing with Paul Turner, but doesn't really matter. And then Tony Khan gets on the horn to the ring announcer, and she announces that Forbidden Door will be made a triple threat, as both teams will move on to the tag title match. And then the Hurt Syndicate come out and stare down the just absolute pile of bodies that were these 4 men. And then I think later in the show, if I heard correctly, this is now an elimination match.
Ooh, I didn't hear that. I'm not saying you're wrong, but I didn't hear it. And that's exciting.
Yes, because, it's officially on Wikipedia, 3-way tag team elimination match. So now I don't know if this is per guy or per team. It's probably
per team.
But it alleviated some issues I had with everything here. But James, for the match itself, we'll deal with that stuff later. The match itself, this slapped. Which is like I told you was going to happen with every Brody King and Bandido match in this tournament. And this outdid the other 2 they had because they were amazing.
I'm so mad at how good they are as a team. I'm so mad at how much I found myself rooting for them from week 1. Quite frankly, from the moment they were announced as being part of this tournament, I was like, what the hell are we doing?
And we were here, and I think Danny was here too, and I was the only one defending it. But I thought they were going to lose in the first round. I just went, guys, they're probably going to lose, but they're going to go out there, have a great match, because the both of them are super over. So Tony was like, let me just get them on TV and it'll be fine. And then they went all the way to the finals, and their chemistry in the ring, and even their idiosyncrasies, like tagging in with the gun and shit, they have such good chemistry, and they are awesome together.
It's insanity. You gotta think Buddy Matthews is kicking himself right now, right?
If he is, he's probably going to be in rehab longer.
Damn it! You're on it tonight, bro.
I slept a lot today. My brain.
Yeah, man, your brain is charged. All joking aside, this was truly incredible. This was a fun matchup that had the right amount of intensity, the right amount of mystery. Because I think on some level, we all just expected it to be FTR. But Brodido had been wowing us that we were building that, do they have a shot here? Are they really going to do it?
There was even a small part of me I was just like, even if it wasn't the plan, does Tony run with them because they're doing so well? So,
look, I am very intrigued that this is now in an elimination match. Because I would have put dollars to donuts that this was a triple threat to make sure that if the Hurt Syndicate lost, they lost without being pinned. But now that's not it.
Yeah.
Now if it's elimination, 2 teams are going down here. So that's very interesting. I think this is the dark horse match that I'm most excited for at Forbidden Door.
It is
now. It's not the match I'm most excited for, but it is my dark horse pick of I think this is the one that's going to surprise us. Any match that has Kenny Omega is going to be the match I'm most excited for. But this is now, okay, you could surprise us here. I think this might be legit good. So let's see. I'm rooting for everybody. Maria agrees with me. She thinks this match is stealing the show. So we'll see. My only nitpick about the match itself, I thought the table spot was dumb.
Unnecessary. Especially with the timing. Like, I was just like, why do we need a table spot here?
But beyond being unnecessary, are you going to get yourself disqualified? What's the thought process here?
Yeah.
Like, FTR, for everything that they are, they're smart heels. They're smart ring workers. So what's the thought process here? This isn't a title match where you're the champion and you have the champion's privilege. What is it called?
The champion's advantage.
Championship advantage. Thank you. This is a match where you're qualifying. I don't. If he had landed that table spot onto Bandido, great. You put him through a table. You lost. So yeah. I don't know. I thought it was a little silly.
I thought the weirder thing of it for me was, obviously the strategy was dumb, but the fact that they did it with a minute left, which was weird. Like, why are you wasting time? Danielson was screaming at them, which I thought he was absolutely right. And the other thing too was, why are you doing it yourself in full view of the ref? Yes. You have Big Stoke right there to do it for you when you're distracting the referee. So it should have been brought out in that way earlier in the match. Then you hit the spot at the end, and it makes more sense. Yes. I think.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. It felt like drama for drama's sake.
Yeah, but that's like the smallest of nitpicks because
I again, incredible matchup.
Yeah, I thought it ended like 4 or 5 different times.
Yeah, me too.
I really did. All right, so now we have this Eliminator match, and here's what was going to be my nitpick, but thankfully, I think the Eliminator saves it because as a guy posted over on Blue Sky, and I'll just read what I wrote. While this is better than like a DQ finish, which is what WWE definitely would have done to get this triple threat, I was initially upset by the time limit draw just because I kind of thought, like kayfabe-wise, it completely takes the piss out of the tournament. It's like, why did we have this whole tournament and then you just have the 2 finalists and they make the championship match? That makes no sense. I think at the end there, with it being an Eliminator match, this way you still have to beat the same amount of teams to win the title. Now, granted, the Hurt Syndicate...
That's actually a great point.
The Hurt Syndicate is at a bit of a disadvantage because they technically have to be 2 teams to retain instead of just the 1, so it does still kind of screw them. But if FTR or Brodido win the titles, they still have to beat the team they should have had to have beaten to make the finals or to make the title match and then beat the champs.
I mean, granted, there is also the other... there's also the other way this could go. Theoretically, I'm not saying any team does it, but let's say FTR beats the Hurt Syndicate, but then Brodido beats FTR. They won the titles without beating the champs.
Yeah, but they still beat the guys that they had to beat to get.
Oh, of course.
But it makes me happier in my head that we ended up with this triple threat, just because, like I said, it annoyed me that it was just like, what was the whole point of this tournament if we were going to have this triple threat? We've had more than enough tag team title triple threats where we've just had 2 teams start feuding with the champs, and then you went like even the last one. It was JetSpeed and it was Christian and Nick Wayne, if I'm not mistaken, against Hurt Syndicate, and you could have just done that, and then probably you could have just had everyone start feuding, and it would have been fine. But I'm glad we got the match out of this, and I'm glad that they're doing it this way because it feels better to me. I just hope it's 3 men in the ring at the same time instead of 2, because that 2 man shit.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's so stupid.
Yeah. I will say this though, I think the tournament really did its job here.
Yes, because
we were saying, especially outside of kayfabe, but I think the 2 biggest things they wanted to hit, now looking back on it, were get Brodido over as a tag team, which they very much did, and B, help bolster the weakened tag division. And I think they did a great job of that too. FTR is now back on their bullshit, and they're one of the top teams in the tag division. The Bucks, while they got knocked out in the second round, we're looking like the Bucks again. JetSpeed is still a very good team, and they're floating around the division, so you have them. The Bang Bang Gang is back in the tag division, even though they are banged up. Like, you still have at least two of them running around, so that's helpful.
Yeah.
I think they Gate. I don't know if Gates Agony, if they're going to be in the tag division too much running with Ricochet, but they're still there. They're still on the roster. So you have tag teams that have been built up as a result of this tournament, including a brand new one. So I think that the tournament did its job in its entirety.
I completely agree. I mean, we don't know what the future is for Brodido. And I'm not saying that, like, there's no joke here. Like, we don't know if they're actually going to stay a tag team. We don't know if they're going to go off and do different things. Yeah. Like, they were brought together as a team through circumstance. They had common enemies. But then this tournament really kind of solidified them. Who knows what we do next, but I'm more inclined to say I'd kind of like to see them stay together.
Yeah, I mean, who knows how long it's going to take Buddy to get back. Obviously, we want him to be healthy as quickly as possible, but I think he ends up having surgery on that ankle, if I'm not mistaken.
Selfish bastard.
No, it just wasn't healing properly. He was trying to avoid it, and I think he ended up having to get it. So, which sucks for him, but it, like you said, it did open a door for Brodido to come together. So, and it does leave the door open for them to stay together for a while, and I think they will, just because they've been running too strong together, and that finisher is way too sick for them to break them off. Plus, when Buddy does come back, it could lead to a fun little like trios thing with them if they want to do that. So there's options there.
Yeah.
All right, and that was Dynamite. James, I think as we mentioned earlier in response to Judge, you had this at an 8 out of 10 show, and I think that's about right. But I do think it was a very strong go-home show for Forbidden Door, at least on the Dynamite side of things. Obviously, I think there's so much happening on the pay-per-view that Collision's going to cover a lot more of it. But the threads we needed to tie off heading into Sunday's pay-per-view were definitely so.
Talking about it with you, I'm going to raise it up to an 8.5. Because I thought this tag match was great. I loved Cope Christian. I stand by. I still don't really like the direction of the story with MJF and Hanger, but I still thought it was well done. It's just not what I wanted to see. The women's tag main event was great. So there was a lot of good here. And hey, we got to see Tanahashi, you know, for one of the last times on North American TV. And by that, I don't mean the crowd. I mean North American TV.
Yeah, I got you.
So you got me last time. So yeah, I did think this was a fun show. I did think this was a strong show. And for, like you said, for a go-home show, AEW killed it. For a go-home show, AEW absolutely killed it. I am more inclined now to want to watch Collision this week because I agree. I think they still have a lot that they need to cover by Sunday. So, good show.
Yeah, as I mentioned, you got Takeshita against Ishii on Collision. I don't remember if it's on tomorrow or Friday or Saturday, but it's the only problem with Collision. It bounces around so much, but you can always just watch it on HBO Max, like the day or two after. Yeah. So you got that match. The Bucks are on the show as well. I don't remember who they're facing, but they gave them some really janky cryon pictures, which was really funny. So you're going to have a good Collision. And then you'll probably get stuff with like Kyle Fletcher leading up to his TNT championship match against Takahashi and maybe some Kenny.
I'm giving up.
Maybe a tease. I mean, dude, he's got to be in the country unless he's showing up on like Saturday night. So
I've given up, man.
You know, maybe you get a tease from him, but yeah, I think Collision is going to be very well. And I've liked watching Collision when I can catch it. It's a different like pace of show than Dynamite, but I like that it is, and it's much more like it's a little bit slower in terms of like they give it more matches. And like it's more just like backstage promo. There's not a lot of in-ring promo stuff, but it gives the matches the time to breathe, and they can go at their own pace. And it's just for the sickos. So yeah, watch Collision, kids. It's a good show. All right. So on that note, I'd like to thank everybody here watching. Thank you for watching us. See, you jinxed me. You said I was doing really well tonight, and I fuck up the ending.
You still are. Botch.
Thank you so much for watching us here at the Market Down Podcast tonight. If you appreciated what you saw here tonight, be sure to hit like and subscribe. If you like the video, it lets us know that you're enjoying what we're doing here on the show. And if you subscribe, you continue to get all the great stuff here at the pod. We have a new video from Matt Cascone. He did a pretty funny interview and with the New Day after SummerSlam when he was at one of the pre-Raw parties. They just absolutely roast him for 5 minutes. So if you want to see Matt get schooled by the New Day, you should go check that out. It's pretty funny. You can catch the Gym Pack Zone tomorrow.
Yes, I will be on tomorrow.
Yep, if you're down for Impact, be sure to catch James tomorrow. We will be here Sunday to cover Forbidden Door. Friendly reminder, if you're here on the East Coast of the U.S., Forbidden Door is at 1 o'clock.
Is it really?
Pretty sure, yeah.
Thank God. Okay, that just made my life so much easier.
Yeah, because then it'd be, I think, 6 o'clock over there. So that makes sense. So
Thank God. Okay.
I will double check that right now.
Thank you, Tony Khan. You just made my weekend.
Start time is at, you're not going to tell me on Wikipedia, are you, you bastards? All right.
we'll figure it out.
Yeah, James will Google it. Well, I tell you, if you want to follow us on any of our social media platforms, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, or Blue Sky, you're here on YouTube, you can check out the links in the description below. And if you are watching us over on Facebook or on Twitter and want to follow any of those things, it is 1 p.m. I was right. Noise. I'm going to have to wake up, but you know what that means? Boozy brunch for the fucking pay-per-view. Bacon, eggs, cheese, maybe eggs Benedicts, and a brew. An espresso martini. Anyway, as I was saying, if you want to follow us on some of our social media platforms, check us out at marketdown_pod over on Twitter. Instagram is at marketdownpod, youtube.com/marketdown3665, marketdownpod.bsky.social over on Blue Sky, or just search Marketdown Podcast on any of your social media platforms, and you can continue to see James making that weird face he was just making. So, James, you got anything else before we get out of here?
We are starting to do some new content here at the pod. We're going to start slowly streamlining that out. So you guys are going to see more videos from us during the week, during the daytime. So be ready to start getting more and more Market Down. Rev and I are getting ready to really start gearing up with you guys. So we're going to be discussing more news again. We did that when we first started the channel, where we did like weekly news as well. And we're going to be doing that. And we're going to be doing it in much smaller bursts. So they're going to be a lot easier to consume. Like, don't get me wrong. We love having you guys with us now for an hour and a half doing these lives. But we know that sometimes people just want some quicker content. So you're going to be getting like 10-minute videos from us. Covering certain topics. So be ready for that. We're happy to do it. We're excited to be doing it. We're, as my lower third says, very tired while doing it, but we're doing it, and we hope that you guys enjoy watching it with us.
Yeah, we're hopefully going to get something out soon. We covered the ESPN's new streaming platform and WWE going over there, and we're probably going to have to update it because a bunch more news has come out about that as well. So
yeah,
keep an eye out for that type of stuff as we continue to give you some shorter form content for you guys to consume.
Yes.
All right. So for James Asante, my name is Nick Cummings. Thank you so much for watching us here at the Market Down Podcast. Have a good one, everyone.